Today's session is on putting your projects aside and doing what you love and realizing more and more that offline is healing. So this week, I have challenged myself to do a week of showing up, putting myself out there, documenting my story, sharing my stories, and doing a lot of it. And I'm encouraging folks in my network to also do the same. If you haven't done so already, I think it's a really good time for us to take time to reflect, take time to engage with our people in a meaningful way. And how I'm doing that this week has been reflecting on some of the blogs and newsletters and pieces that I would have written over the years. Some of them as far back as 2023, 2024. But I work in ocean conservation. I help to design and manage projects that give measurable impact and long lasting. I also work to support advice on designing initiatives that are centered in equity, justice, and inclusivity. And yeah, recently just finished collaborating with the Montserrat Tourist Board, really looking at how we can build different relationships and create a different strategy around engaging our community and our visitors in environmental sustainability, environmental stewardship, thinking and rethinking about how we can travel better, how we can live better, how can we incorporate culture more, and sort of like pathways to healing, where travel is more than the adventure and taking something back out of a destination, but thinking about not just leaving it without causing harm, but also giving back. So that's some of the things I've been doing. And just so you have a little bit of context about who I am. And I also have a nonprofit here, Fish and Fins. But at the moment, I'm focused on my let's just say my healing. This has been a healing year. And I just want to start by saying that I don't know what you're feeling, but I feel sometimes it's like this world is off its axis. I think the planet itself is out of balance. And as a result, as we're all connected and interconnected, it sometimes feels that we're off balance as well. This week, I should have been at the COP climate change conference in Belém, Brazil, but it didn't work out for me to go in the end. And I'm here on Montserrat, which worked out just fine for me. And I guess, for those of you who are following my work, that I work on ocean climate stuff as well. And I'm here in the Caribbean, which is a vulnerable location, a geography for climate risk and climate impacts. And even though you may not believe, I don't know, like nowadays you have to really question whether or not people believe in the science. I think science has taken a blow. Science has lost some, maybe trust, respect, maybe also the ego has caused some damage to science as well. I think that science has done us a lot of good over the years, but it also has done some harm. Science has been responsible for a lot of positive things. It's helped us to understand our world better. It's helped us to understand our bodies and our mind better. It's helped to protect us from diseases through vaccinations. It's helped to create a lot of the conveniences that we have today. Even the ability for us to communicate like this online is largely due to science. It helped with the Industrial Revolution, for example. scientists, chemists, um, explorers, all the sorts, um, were able to understand more about, for example, you know, how do we generate heat and create movement? How do we harness energy, keep the processes going? And that sort of gave rise to the exploitation of fossil fuels, which today none of us can really um, seem to get away from. Like, despite our best efforts, and up to the time, we are seeing that fossil fuels continue to drive our way of life. Even if we're to consider the renewable energy movement, there's a lot of really good work happening in that space, and we have to do something. We can't really do nothing. But even when we do that, we still need fossil fuels for that process to happen, right? And in some ways, even it's creating other challenges as well. But I still think that there has been a lot of really positive things that have come out of the work of science and scientists, and it will continue to be the case as well. But we have a number of challenges, and they feel heavy. We have challenges around deforestation, we have challenges around pollution, and we have challenges around biodiversity loss. Never before in history have we been, at risk of losing so much so quickly. Planet Earth has been around for what, maybe 4.5 billion years? And don't quote me on that. Let's check that out. Check the facts. But yeah, the Earth has been around for a very, very long time. And, you know, there has been never, like, we've gone through cycles of warming temperatures and things like this. But, the science is showing us that never before has the temperatures been rising as quickly. And then just not so long ago, you of course had a US president say that climate change is a hoax. We have seen that, you know, sometimes I even wonder if our Caribbean leaders are seeing the urgency as well. Some of them. We have a Caribbean community, but I don't think our voices are as loud as they should be. When you consider, like, on one hand, you have developed world leaders saying things like China is saying charge through with renewables, we're going to be all on it. But then renewables has its own set of challenges. You have the US saying no, it's all a hoax, and then you have people in the Pacific Islands who are saying, or who are saying, you know, like us in the islands. When we look back at our islands over the years, we see that, for example, these islands were a beach you might have been able to enjoy it fully, but now the Pacific are saying that some of those islands that they enjoyed as kids now underwater or at risk of being underwater soon. And so that shows us that these risks are real. For us in the Caribbean, we are seeing that sea level rise and megastorms are increasing impact. Hurricane Melissa just went through the Jamaica, and it had catastrophic impacts on the west coast of Jamaica, in sort of a breadbasket of the island. And, some people are saying now that we need to maybe move the Category 5 hurricane up to a Category 6 so that winds over 200 miles per hour can actually be Category 6. Because the Hurricane Melissa, was actually the strongest hurricane on records ever. And for me, when I look at our climate impacts in the Caribbean, perhaps the two more concerning ones for me is sea level rise and also flash floods and the impacts of flooding on our region. I'm seeing a lot more of that, even here in Montserrat, where I grew up, not even seeing flash floods. So there's a lot of things to think about. There's a lot of things that are heavy. I've been speaking about these things all week, and I've been doing my best. I'm only one person in an organization. Yes, I have a community of support. I have a team, but there's so many issues, even issues of finance. I've been talking about fair finance, issues of operations, um, there are challenges in regards to the deep politics and the deep inequities that exist in this sector. And sometimes you just have to say, wow, like, are you really making a difference? And is that difference going to be lasting? Is the impact large enough? And, you don't, at the same time, you don't want to put it all on your own back. So I understand and I could relate to those people who may be watching and are in a different part of the world. Maybe you're in a metropolitan city and you're also questioning whether or not you're impactful, whether or not your work is impactful, whether or not you're spending enough time with your family, whether or not you're getting paid what you're worth, whether or not that money is really, doing what it needs to do to be able to create the sort of financial security you need in your retirement. Um, and I know there's many things that may be going through people's minds. I know a lot of people are struggling at this time too. Not only with the emotional sort of challenges of balancing oneself, balancing one's life and one's purpose and one's, realities, but also struggling for different reasons, like maybe you might have just invested a lot of money, 100,000 US dollars in a very good grad school, and maybe you've been unemployed for 2 or 3 years and you still haven't got the job you want or you need. Maybe you have eviction notices. Maybe you have to take up other jobs to keep your career going. So you may be volunteering, and that voluntary job maybe not paying you, so you're running maybe 20-hour days, just trying to make ends meet. So I understand that we all have different challenges, and we're all in a very similar space. But what I'm here to tell you today is that we need to stop, we need to slow down, and we really need to lean in on our community. We need to unite. But even before we get to that point, I believe that we need to take time for self-reflection and rebalancing, reconsidering what a couple things mean to us. What does career mean to us? What does success mean for us? And I know for me in my life this year, in particularly, I've been really sort of thinking a lot more about the pathway to healing, the pathway to wellness, because a lot of what I have just described to you about our work and our projects and all these things is mentally draining. It's a mental health concern. It is um, tiring. It's causing repeated burnout in people. And I think that we need to stop. We need to reflect. I have been thinking a lot about, ensuring that my success is really aligned with peace. I feel like I already do purposeful work. I'm not so much concerned about my connection to purpose. But I do want to focus on my connection to identity and my connection to peace. And I think that's something that we need to do. And it's only going to happen through close reflection, taking time to slow down, taking time to reflect, taking time to really engage with our community. So this week also, I'm so happy that I'm doing these lives, for example, because I know that they're a bit inundating in people's boxes. I'm just thankful for your grace. I don't think I've lost any subscribers on my Substack, even though like there are probably pings going off all the time, and some people are probably not seeing or understanding why I'm doing this. But it's been a learning process for me as well, and I think it's been a good one. I'm sharing with my free subscribers what I'm learning throughout this week, and I also asked my LinkedIn followers, who I have about 310 subscribers to my newsletter on LinkedIn, which I got quickly. But I've asked those subscribers to come over to Substack because this is a space where I find it's slower, it's calmer, it's a little bit more peaceful. I think the community here is supportive. And at the same time, though, again, this week, I've felt the loss of a couple Instagram accounts, my personal Instagram accounts and my Fish and Fins account. And that has been very triggering and very upsetting. I don't know if I'll get them back, but it just goes to show again how important it is for us to document things offline, write things down, print things out. This year I'm gonna have to make some sacrifices, so it's not gonna be like a year where I can, invest in lots of Christmas gifts, but I do want to get a portable printer for lots of the photographs that I have, and I want to get a Polaroid camera because I want to go back to that lo-fi analog way of being where I can save my photographs and make notes and, do more zines and things like this because it's just such a emotional situation when you lose your social media. And I wasn't even active on them because I'm actually escaping social media at the moment. I think it's not necessarily productive. And I'm really sort of leaning more into my one-on-one, more meaningful engagements, getting to know my followers and subscribers and things like this. So I am glad that you are following. And if you are able to see this live, then it will be shared to my YouTube page. And it's my YouTube page is at Veta FR. So you can actually see my YouTube, a replay on YouTube as well. So please feel free if you like it to say you like it, to engage with me. I really love my pen pals. I think this is all very um, this slower community, this more engaged community. Sometimes even it's one or two people that I connect with well. I very much appreciate and I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for these pen pals that share their life story or engage and comment, share their experiences. I learn from you. And I just want to say thank you, how much I appreciate you and how much I'm grateful for you. And I'm not so much concerned about my views. I was realizing this week about, sometimes even all year, I feel like things have happened to me in small doses, but impactful. Like on Substack, I probably have one really good friend that supports my work. I have another page that I really follow. And let me shout them up, right? So Lori Maeve's Art is, I consider a Substack friend, and she's very supportive of my work, and we sort of check in on each other. And she's just somebody that I met recently on Substack, and she joins my creative community. I try to join hers. And Seth Weichner, I never get that surname right, but he is responsible for the page, the Escape Social Media Club and Social Media Escape Club. And I really love Seth. I love his thinking and his creativity. And he's not a guy who's really trying to seek views or like hard sell anything. He's, I think, a good human being, super creative and really connected to people's stories and is genuinely wanting to support folks with the knowledge and experience that he's had over the years. I have a couple people that I just check in with. Brian Anderson on Substack. There's another Substack that I can't even remember right now. Gosh, but I'm gonna do written post on all the people that I like. I like Do It Ugly Project and their style of art. I think that style is something that I connect with. And so that I'm grateful for that page as well. And I yeah, there's just, there's a lot of things that I'm grateful for. And I want to just this blog post that I've chosen for today is a quick one, so that's the reason why I probably had some time to share other things. And I posted this photo because it was a really cute photo, and it was Ezra's friend had drawn a dragon out of chalk on his driveway. And I thought how sweet, that he takes the time to be creative outdoors as a teenager and not necessarily stuck online all the time. So shout out to him for doing that. And I was quite happy to post it because I think spending time offline with our family, with ourselves even, in reflection is a super useful thing to do. In this post that I had written, I share that um, one of the most lighthearted and beautiful, joyous, easy reads of a newsletter that I came across was Jenna O'Brien of Feeling magazine. Highly recommended. So I'm reminding myself again to go back and check that one, and you should too. One of the words that she shared in her post was whimsy, and she said that whimsy originated from Bob Goff in his book Love Does. Um, and Jenna I quoted her as saying here, true whimsy cannot be purchased or curated. It is free. It cannot come from someone else or be manufactured. Real, true, pure whimsy comes from your heart and bubbles out. And so I'm reflecting back on how what comes up for me is how, we really just slow down and take time to connect with what we really, really love. Put the projects away, put the work away, and connect with what we truly, truly love. Um, and oh, I also went on to say, in this piece, how I was prioritizing my well-being. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the freedom to curate my life each day in a very organic ways that don't need to cost a lot of money. I'm not sure what comes next for me, but I'm enjoying every day, and I'm really putting myself out there in a way where I'm hoping to attract, be a magnet for the people, the projects, um, initiatives, the art, whatever it is, the assignments that are really aligned to not just my purpose, but my identity and my peace as well. And I went on here to say that now that I'm prioritizing my well-being and reconnected to joy and whimsy, these are some of the things that I was grateful for, and I would just love to share them with you. So I'm identifying as an artist that does environmental work. That alone feels liberating. So I've done a few zines. I've done this invitation to create journal for 2026. If you can go to my website, vetawade.com. There's such a cute agouti, which is like a rabbit family animal that just came by. Um, she was trying to sneak something to eat, but I was going to turn the camera around so you could see her, and she ran away. But so yeah, I've done this journal. It's on my website. You can purchase it if you want, if you would like. But it was really a nice invitation to create solutions around, um, to be creative around strategies and visioning and projects. And oh, and another thing that I was grateful for was enjoying different conversations with new people on Substack and on my island. It was refreshing. My new signature scent is sweetgrass. I love the smell of sweetgrass. Grasses in general, I'm a fan of. And so, yeah, if you're buying any scents this Christmas, I suggest grass would be a good one. And reminded how much I love crafting. I want to learn the cultural stuff like plaiting sweetgrass and coconut palms, weaving baskets and beading. These are things that take a lot of patience, something that I don't know if you will have very well, but I love the community I have because we're a community of more so readers and watchers. And I think when you're a reader, you take more time maybe to focus in on things and follow through on things, and get to know your audience. So I was happy for and grateful for curating the clubhouse. So if you go to vitawade.com/slash the clubhouse, you'll see the clubhouse or beach house. And it's very cool and it's all handmade DIY. And except for the concrete steps that I've had to put in, um, because I couldn't afford to just have eroding coastlines and surging seas. You have a high energy coastline to just wash away a wood step. And I didn't have the funds to make a beach stone step. Um, but I'm still working on that. And I would have loved to have solar panels on the building, but we have actually gas inside, which really bothered me to buy a gas stove. But it just goes to show how connected we are to fossil fuels, how connected we are to the conveniences of where science has led us today. And I don't even know how we're going to get out of it, guys. Um, but I encourage people who come to the beach house, I give them a coal pot and there's an outside grill and encourage them to use that. And there's also solar lights, the old lamps in the clubhouse, so people can use that as an alternative. And luckily, those people who do come use those things. So, experimenting with my little art gallery. I have a little art gallery that I was making in the corner of the clubhouse. People think that kids made it, but it's just me and my childlike self. My partner handpicked hibiscus flowers one morning and handed them to me, and I love him for that. And he does that regularly, actually. Especially when he can see that I'm going through a challenging time, he picks me flowers. And I've just taken time to be still in nature, and I love being at my mom's house. I love being at my mom's house a lot. Very calming, very peaceful, and filled with love and good memories. So, yeah, thank you so much for following. Thank you for following my story. Thank you for following my page. I continue to ask you to put yourself out there, to tell your story, to do it often. And science is a bit busted at the moment, but still believe in its power. I think that in another conversation, another time, we can discuss how maybe it needs to adapt, and we have to all take time to reflect on our little piece of the puzzle of creating these new systems, these new ways of living, working, and traveling that um, are better aligned to ourselves. And yeah, it's only going to be achieved by slowing down. So until next time, all the very best, all my love from Montserrat. I'm out. Bye.